All right, we're trying to get this worked out, getting this started up. My main device that I go on one of the platforms with was dead, so it's charging currently, and then we'll go live with that. But yeah, here we are. I'm going to be carving and working on this alien. So I am doing alien carving. That's kind of the thing today. I made Alien Cowboy one of my last episodes. So this guy here. And I said, you know what? I kind of enjoy doing my own thing after I've got the, a light grasp of the inner workings of whittling. So I wouldn't say that I'm any master or anything even slightly close to that, but I will say that I'm better than I was when I first started. So that is a plus. So while that boots up, I'm going to go ahead and start working on this. Even with the ruler, it wasn't a straight line. Hate that. Cool, that'll do. All right, we're going to be into it here shortly, guys. Like I said, I'm just kind of getting stuff together. Phone starting up. But yeah, so far this whole wood carving process, I've really enjoyed it. This is a Path to Polymath series. So if you're just now tuning in, or if you haven't tuned in a while, welcome back. This is where I take a skill from zero knowledge to somewhat proficient, and that's kind of the goal. So I started off with wood carving and whittling, zero knowledge, a little bit of blood here and there, and some tools, and I feel like I've got a decent grasp of it. And eventually, at the end of each of these series where I learn new skills, hopefully I'll have somebody on to interview. So that's kind of the goal. And if I can't get anybody to interview right off the rip, I eventually will have somebody to interview. So if I can't find anybody when it's time, who's available or whatever, I'll work it out. Said customer, hey, thanks for what? Said customer, I haven't seen you in a while, man. It's probably a little bit of a different show since Jake's not in here. And this is probably a really close angle. Here, we'll do that. Maybe that's a little bit better. I was using one of the other cameras, and I set it to our old wood shop, which I'm not in currently. I moved out of state, and so Jake's still back in Nashville doing his own thing. He went on tour with some country singer. He wasn't playing. He was their tech, so he basically got paid really well to make sure their instrument was tuned and in working shape. So it has been way too long. I don't think you popped on since my Path to Polymath series. But yeah, basically I go from zero knowledge to somewhat proficient. So I did this Alien Cowboy, which I don't know if you saw him from the angle earlier. And then I've got a couple other things, gnomes and birds and yeah, all kinds of little cute things. Here, let me see if I can. We'll do this. So maybe you guys can see that. On tour, awesome. Yeah. He was on tour. He's done it a couple times. He went with a band called Kaleo. I think that's what they are. I think they're like maybe Icelandic or something. There we go. Yeah, I think they're like Icelandic or whatever. But yeah, he went on tour with them for a little bit. And then this most recent country singer, I can never remember his name, but when Jake says the song, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that song. Apparently he's well known. But yeah, I made like a little cardinal on a stump, and there's like a alien cowboy that I kind of just freehand. This is just a regular alien I'm working on. Just working on these fundamentals that I've been, doing over the last month or so. I've really only been practicing on the show, so I've been toying around with that. Like, should I practice outside of it and just bring what knowledge I'd take, doing it on my off days outside of the show? and seeing if I can improve a bit and then bring it onto the show and let you guys know, or if I should just you guys learn with me. I've been doing the latter, you guys learning with me. So you've seen a lot of struggling, a lot of mess ups, but I think it's also cool because I had a woodworker on last week, a wood carver, and he gave me, I think Stump was his name. He popped in on, one of the other platforms, not this one that you're on, Ted Customer. And yeah, he gave me some pointers, and then I checked out his profile and I was like, oh my God, I already follow you. You do amazing work. I'm humbled that you gave my little show a view. I saw like 3 wood carving streams, the like very early streams. How are you? How's your family life? Family life is cool. I'm great. I'm getting a lot less sleep than I used to, but it is totally worth it because my little man is awesome. He's great. I've been showing him all kinds of cool stuff, and we've just been doing a lot of growing together. It's been awesome. And then I still try to do this, you know. It's not quite the same dynamic, you know, not having a co-host, you know, because Jake was the chaotic one. It was good and it was bad, you know. As much as I love the guy, like trying to get that guy to actually come on to the show. I often thought like maybe Jake does not like this show anymore. Like we started it together, maybe he does not like it. Trying to get him actually to be on episodes was an arduous task each episode. So I don't have to really worry about that anymore. Now I just have to drag my own ass on here. But yeah, I'm on 4 different platforms right now. Currently, I'm only live on 3 of them, and that will be rectified here in a second. We don't want any audio coming from that. We're going to go here. I love it. Modify this a bit. Give me 2 shakes, guys. We're going to post this up here so we can go live with it. That works. That's lovely. All right. Now we are live on all 4 of them. Cool. I love it. Anyways, how have you been? It's been probably a year, I think, since maybe you've come on. I don't think you came on. So Jake came down to visit. I don't know. It was like 6 months ago or something like that. Might have been 4 months ago. But Jake came down to visit, and he went live with me. I don't know if you popped in on that one, but it was as chaotic as usual, per usual, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, how the streams are going to go. And thank you, like I didn't mention, thank you for looking at some of the older wood carving ones. That was definitely a learning process. You might have caught the episode where I like cut the shit out of myself. That's when I was wearing these ones that they like supply with the wood carving kits. They're Kevlar, but they're hey Stump, what's going on? Welcome back, man. I'm tearing down on this guy some more. I checked out your profile. I realized I already follow you. Thank you. I already follow you. I was going through looking at like woodworkers, wood carvers, just talented people on the platform, and I found you, followed you, and was like, man, this guy's great. And then afterwards, I checked out your profile. I was like, I already follow this guy. He does amazing work. Some of the spoons and stuff. I mean, I think I saw like a lathe in there. I thought I saw you like working on a bowl. I saw just a big hunk of wood. It looked like a lathe, maybe a bowl. But yeah, great work. Yeah, I was telling a sad customer that I was honored that, you know, somebody with skill like you would just pop into my little ass stream. So, but we're gonna get into we're gonna carve back into this some more. I'm thinking right here. You probably can't tell too well. I think, you know, I've got this big belly and I've got where his arms are gonna be. I'm not gonna go quite T-pose, you know. I think I'm gonna have him to the side, but I think I will like maybe drill some holes if it's not too difficult, and carve out that way. It has an arm, but I think adding too much complication like that might cause problems. Sometimes those really thin areas around here, if you put too much pressure on it, it'll just snap off. I'll have to glue it back. It's kind of a pain. I've missed all those streams. I'm fine. I have a move ahead of me. Too much trouble with my upstairs neighbor. Oh yeah. Well, where we're at in the States, I guess there are apartments here, but there are just so many houses that are, rent is expensive all through the States. I guess all through the world, prices have gone up everywhere. But I do not miss my days of living above or below somebody. People stomping, people late night, especially if they have young people, not babies. That's fine. I can get over that. But people having parties and stuff, no bueno. Hard pass on that. I outgrew stuff like that. When I was younger, I didn't really care. It's whatever. I slept like a tank, if that's even a thing. I was a very hard sleeper, so they weren't going to wake me up. But the older I get, the less soundly I sleep. Currently I'll hear my baby whimper from his sleep, at midnight or something. I'll hear him and just hop out of bed half awake. Even my girlfriend's like, "Did he wake up last night?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Or I don't know. I was like, "I don't think so." And she's like, "Yeah, I remember you woke up with them." And I'm like, "Did I?" I'm just like a zombie. I've done stupid stuff put just water in the bottle and handed it back to her. I was supposed to, do a lot of teamwork. So I was supposed to, while she changed diapers and all of that for the baby, when he wakes up, he's upset and he's usually peed. She's changing his diaper. And while she's doing that, I'm making a bottle for him. And I've had times where I was so out of it that I put it all together and didn't even put formula in it. I was going to give that baby just straight water, which is dangerous for little babies. And I had one time where I handed it to her and there was not even a lid on it. So she basically just poured water on the baby. It's you're half awake. It's yeah. When I was, I won't say, obviously when I was younger than I currently am, I used to live in a house. There was 5 other people. I'm pretty sure it was 5 other people. It was a pretty decently sized house. I think it was 4 bedroom, 2 bath, and I think they had 2 little sunrooms. And I had one roommate take one of the sunrooms at his room. So there's 5 of us living in that house. That was chaos. But my rent was $189 a month. So when my rent was that low, I did a lot of traveling because my expenses were really low. So I was all over Europe just getting in the travels because I could pay at my rent 3 months in advance and just kick rocks off to Europe for a while because that was just dirt cheap. I'm normally in full support of multi-unit houses, and I have enough living under my family with 3 children. Oh, you got 3 kids? I did not know that. Well, congrats on the kids. I don't think you've ever told us that information before, but I don't think you've even been in since I've had a kid. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Right now I'm getting these blades kind of honed up, getting them stropped so I can do some carving. Yeah, I've like I said, I've definitely done my share of multifamily. I've done duplexes and apartments, so that's about it. 2 stories or apartments, which are usually like smaller apartments, so they're 2 stories as well. They were all right. Pros and cons, pros and cons. I did like having my space in a house and having a little more room, which you still can get those with some of the like what do they call? I called them earlier, not condos. They're townhouses, I guess is what we would call them here. No, a family of 3 children lives above me. Oh, gotcha. I was confused because you have never talked about having kids, and I was like, okay. I was like, that is new to me. Okay. I think that needs a little more love. That's not quite as stropped as I would like it. So currently, I'm still waiting tables. I'm still a server, which in the States can be lucrative, and there are a lot of benefits of, do you miss traveling? Yeah, but I'm going to travel with little man. He's going to be my little travel buddy. Alicia and I are going to travel all over the place with him. I mean, I think it would be hard for him not to like traveling because we're going to be doing it with him. But it's like one of those things like you want your kid to like something you like, so you end up becoming like overbearing to make them like it, and they end up not liking it. I hope it's not one of those situations, but you never can tell. She's done traveling since she's been pregnant. She's been to Greece, which we did Greece together, but she went back with some of her family and friends. I wouldn't have mind doing that, but that was kind of a friend's family trip, so it was a girls' trip. I let them do their thing. I think we're trying to do maybe in 2026, so next year, I think we're trying to go back to Europe. We'll see, though. Under the current economy, there's no telling, I think my passport is new. It's fresh, brand new. We all, I think we all have new, fresh passports. It's just, there's, a lot of countries, if you didn't know, are going to be really kind of limiting their tourism, or they're trying to like cut back on the effects that the negative effects that tourism has been having on their places. So these city centers, think of like Venice, think of Florence and Rome and Madrid and Barcelona and all of these places and Dublin, a huge one, London, where these people are buying these houses or these lofts or whatever, these spaces, and they're just Airbnb-ing them. So they're just there's a lot of people, but not a lot of places to live. And then also you have a lot of tourists coming in and being disrespectful and just like making it difficult for people who actually do live there. Like, as much as they love the money that comes from tourism, there's a delicate balance, and I feel like it's gotten a bit out of whack. So in the next coming years, they're going to be implementing a lot of things to make it a little more expensive to travel during peak season. So, and then there's going to be more rules and regulations. A lot of places are going to, if they're like a port city, they're going to have a lot less big like tour boats coming in, like the big cruise liners and stuff. I think they're going to do less of those, and they're going to have limit the amount of tourists that can come into a city. I think I saw something about, maybe it was Amsterdam, that during peak season, they're only going to allow a certain amount, or maybe it's during the whole year, they're only going to allow a certain amount of tourists to come in. I think it's great. I always go off season anyway, so most of that won't really apply to me, but I think it's great. Anything to like maintain. I love traveling, and I'd love these places to still be like culturally theirs, still, be theirs, and not be this like pandering, I I'm trying to find the right way to put this. A lot of shops and stuff, businesses are coming in and opening up these shops that are pandering to tourists, and a lot of like mom and pop businesses are kind of getting pushed out. A lot of like local cultural businesses are getting pushed out because they just can't really compete with some of these big companies that are coming in. So I'm here for it, you know, to really keep Madrid, allow, you know, make it easy for people who live in Madrid to stay in Madrid and to live their life and not be a sideshow for tourists. There are some cities that use this situation and say other cities don't like tourists, come to us. They say that, and then they get a bit overwhelmed, or people people are like swimming in Trevi Fountain and stuff. Like they're going to start implementing super hefty fines, possibly even jail time for stuff like that. There's places that they weren't really getting a lot of tourism. So think of like Moldova and Macedonia and Albania and Georgia, Latvia. These places that they're just not getting any, they're getting some tourism, but just not a lot of tourism. I mean, I'm sure that they would love some kickback from that. Or even when I was in Slovakia, there wasn't a lot of tourists there. But eventually, when it becomes like a hot spot, the city, its identity is going to start losing itself with the tourists that come in and these outsider businesses that come in and buy real estate for Airbnbs and buy these business spaces to put these pandering businesses that are selling the same Latvia keychains that are in the airport, or in, you know, I think there's a time and place for it, but it's just getting a bit outrageous. And I've seen it progress in the time I've been traveling. I haven't been traveling for a long time, but I started in, like, as far as going out of the country, in 2015, and I've noticed a huge difference just in the 10 years since, you know. So it's getting wild. It's getting crazy. So I think having some rules, some boundaries. I think boundaries are good. So anyways, I'm excited to get back to traveling. I am. I'm going to go off season. I'm probably going to go late September, early October, or maybe in February, early March, something like that. That's kind of like my good times to travel. I'm definitely not going in June or July, because that sounds abysmal. I think once. I think when we went to this trip to, was it Mykonos maybe? We did like Athens and Mykonos. I think we went to Lisbon. Went back to Ireland. Yeah. I think it was pretty busy. I think it was during, like, technically peak season. I think these blades are nice and stropped. Let's get this cowboy out of here and let's get into this. So currently I'm working to take some meat off of this belly here. So this is the belly. This is the side profile. So I'm going to have a pretty substantial belly, and I think I'm going to take in the back a bit. Or that's actually not a belly. Sorry, that's a rib cage. So these are the ribs, and that's going down to like a really skinny belly, or skinny, yeah. But yeah, so I'm going to take some weight off these ribs. Just since I carved last, yeah, the wood's kind of like aged just a bit. And it's just a different color, slightly, very slightly, from when I carved last, which was last week. Any of you guys watch anime? I know it's kind of random. I've been on a kick or at least both anime and manga. Like, I've always been a fan of it, but I usually didn't have the time. But recently I've found time for manga and some anime. So I'm working through Kaiju number 8. I know I'm like kind of late to the game. It's been out for a while. And I just finished the show Don Don. I'll probably start working on the manga because I know it's a lot further. But I just finished Jujutsu Kaisen, like the manga. Honestly, haven't watched much of the anime. Haven't got to like the Shinjuku incident or anything like that. I've really just done the first season and part of the second where they kind of do the flashback on Gojo and Kenjaku. And that's it. I didn't have a Crunchyroll subscription, so I was like, I'll just read the fucking manga. And the manga's done, so yeah, it was great. If you guys are fans, welcome. I finished the Demon Slayer manga a while back. That was good. I need more meat taken off this. I don't know if you guys can even see. You can't. Okay. Probably should get in a way that you guys can actually see the carving. Carving down into the neck. I don't want to make it too thin because whenever there is a really thin point, that's usually where your shit breaks when you put too much pressure on it. Obviously, I'm pretty far away from that now. Let's see if I can. Yeah. Pretty far away from that now with all of this, but once I do carve this back in here, it will be close, so I'll have to be pretty delicate. Ooh. Wood squeaking on me. Let me know, Stomp, does that mean that my blade's not sharp enough? Or maybe I'm not working with the grain as well as I should be. That's one of the sucky things about being self-taught at something and not having like a mentor is, you just kind of perpetuate mistakes. But the app that I'm making will help rectify stuff like that. It will help find mentors and bosses. You can try out degrees in a sense before you invest heavily or before you get ridiculous amounts of loans and debt. It allows you to get connected with somebody in your field and kind of get a first-hand experience of it to know what you're going to be getting yourself into, all free. But I'm creating this app because it's something I wanted for myself. There's a lot of things that I wanted to learn, maybe not the school aspect. I mean, there definitely was a part of that, but the main driving force of me creating this app is that I wanted to learn things, and YouTube will only get you so far, which obviously, like, Stomp, YouTube did you did well. I'm not neurotypical. I have ADHD, and sometimes, like, watching YouTube videos and stuff, or, like, reading through a book, like something like this, will only get me so far, I learn much better getting hands-on experience, and it also helps me not perpetuate bad habits, when learning a skill. So if I was like learning piano, I can learn generally how to play the notes from YouTube. I can get the gist, but there is a plateau that I will reach when trying to go to the next step. I never got into animes. I really prefer movie length. So you're saying anime shows or just the art style? Because, I mean, there's plenty of anime out there that are just movies. Now, mind you, they're not as popular now. everybody's on like TV shows. So everybody's like, watching One Punch or Black Clover or Jujutsu Kaisen. But I would say in the 90s, early 2000s, I mean, there were TV shows. There were things like Record Lotus War, Slayers. But movies, there was lots of anime movies. I'm sure you've seen some of the Miyazaki movies. Those are great. They're one and done. You watch them, and you get the whole story right there. You get your start, you get all your character development, you get the hero's journey, and then you get your conclusion, the ending. Miyazaki movies are great. Good storytelling, good art. And if you watch the American dubbed, which a lot of times I'll watch Japanese. I don't mind reading subtitles. But I would say for the Miyazaki movies, they are voiced really well in the States by really famous voice actors or famous actors. So everybody from Anne Hathaway to Christian Bale, Tim Curry, Shia LaBeouf. So a lot of big names in there. I really like something like the Ghibli movies. Yeah, that's what I mean. Miyazaki movies. I don't like watching lengthy anime series with filler episodes and all that. You must have got burned on Dragon Ball. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, and it's like Frieza says there's 5 minutes left and Namek is destroyed. 30 episodes later, they're still fighting on Namek. Waiting, only 2 more minutes left, and you're like, how the fuck? That was 20 episodes, 30 episodes ago that you said we had 5 minutes left. How do we only have 2 minutes? Yeah. There are some shows that people have like often come to me and was like, dude, if you're gonna watch any anime, watch this one. And I get it. If you have that many people coming and telling you about it, it's probably got some weight. There's probably some meat on them bones. It's usually One Piece. Everybody's all about One Piece. So if I have that many people telling me to hit up some One Piece, I'm assuming it's going to be great. The only thing is One Piece is like 1,000 episodes. So, real damn long. I'm going to try to carve this down some. This waist needs to be, or the lower abdomen. Take some meat off this. So really popular right now is a genre that they call in anime, they call isekais. So it's usually somebody getting kind of like teleported or sent to or stuck in a fantasy world. So somebody from a normal world getting isekai'd to a fantasy world. So those are really big. Solo leveling technically isn't an isekai, but I would probably say it's in the vein. Of an isekai. A lot of anime repeats the same kind of tropes. So a lot of like, let's see, My Hero Academia or Academia. What else? I won't say Demon Slayers like this. Black Clover, Naruto. What's the one that I'm? I guess Jujutsu Kaisen. So it's basically the main character, the MC, is something's up with him. Something's wrong with him. He's extremely normal, but somehow ends up being the most overpowered. Whatever is normal about him ends up being what is his power is. So in like My Hero Academia, Deku was born with no kind of special ability or quirk, as they call it. Everybody in the world, after some large event happens, gets a quirk, gets a special ability, whether that's telekinesis or, pyrokinesis that can control fire, or flight, super strength, whatever. Deku is one of the few and rare that has none. But he's got a heart of gold, and he impresses the now number one hero, and the number one hero decides to take him under his wing and give him some of his abilities, and he ends up becoming the most powerful. Asta, same kind of deal, has no magic, gets joked on all the time. Then you realize he's in a world kind of like Harry Potter, there's magic and grimoires and books, and you realize that he's got anti-magic, and he can nullify and beat the shit out of people who have magic, and then he makes pacts with demons, and so very trope. Naruto, Naruto. Sorry, I was being silly. I'm just thinking of the really bad English dubs on those. But yeah, so he's really weak, and he fails all of his ninja exams at his academy, his Junin exams, and then you come to find out that he's the whole village hates him because he's got a demon trapped inside of him. To save the village long time ago, his father trapped a rampaging spirited demon inside of his son. Strange, but that's what happened. And so everybody hates him. They see him as the demon, and the kid he's got a lot of problems, He just wants to be loved. But yeah, he ends up becoming crazy powerful and becomes the head of the whole school. So I don't know what that trope is called, but it is common. Man, taking off material, man, is arduous. Trying to get off enough material. I got a lot of material back here in the back of the neck to take off. Do what's called a pull cut. When you have that much material, it's probably more beneficial to use a coping saw and cut it, but I'm not at that level yet where I feel like I have so much more learning to do in wood carving that I feel like that would cut some corners for me. There would be some skills that I need to refine that I would be losing. Oh, I mentioned earlier about learning on YouTube and how with some things it can work, but on other things not so much. So if you are learning the piano, you can get the gist, you can get the chords, but at some point you're going to want to progress a little further, whether that's reading music or playing on an actual piano versus a keyboard. But there are certain things that you just, YouTube's not going to sense if you're making an error. If you're supposed to play, the notes together, it's hard to do with gloves. But if you're supposed to like connect the notes, play legato, YouTube's not going to notice that you're lifting your hands or that you're not playing legato. Or if it has a note to play something soft, if you're playing it too loud, YouTube's not going to catch that. There's just a lot of little things that you're just not going to get on YouTube. So you can learn a lot of things through it, but with something like my app that I'm working on, you could just get with a piano teacher and work something out to where you could get mentorship, get some lessons, work something out, find them within 5, 10, 20 miles. And I'm still pretty far away from having a MVP, a viable product. Right now, all I have is a pitch deck and a shit ton of notebooks full of information. I've done a couple kind of classes, I would say, to kind of help refine my idea or think about it from an investment or like a, what do they call them? The investors. Not an angel investor, sorry, I'm brain farting on it. The name of the guys who go out and like venture startups, they find these companies and they think they can do well with, and they'll become investors in them. Yeah. So I was at one of those kind of events, and I wasn't pitching it. I was working on my elevator pitch and my pitch deck and kind of just seeing what things in my app were viable, where my mind was a little, or my thinking was a little off, who my customer was. I'm a two-sided business. So like I have two end users or two basically different customer base. Let's see. Are there a lot of anime miniseries? I'm not that into normal series either, but I'm totally fine with miniseries like Chernobyl or The Queen's Gambit. So what are you looking at? Like, 20 episodes, 15 episodes, stuff like that. There's plenty of them out there. And if you were there for the story, you can always do the manga. Some people don't like reading, which is, that's fine. But there are plenty of them out there. But a lot of the ones that are really popular these days are, 3, 4, 5, or even, like One Piece or Bleach, just a ridiculous amount of seasons. Or even like Dragon Ball, As a kid, Dragon Ball didn't really... it seemed long, but it didn't seem long. Because I was just going through the journey myself, so... New stuff, it's not like I was like binge watching, Raditz showing up all the way to Frieza, all the way to, Cell. It was new episodes would drop and I would watch them and lose my shit. And then the next week a new episode will drop and so on and so forth. So just something I did for like coming in on a show. The very beginning is not so bad, but like coming in once it's been established for a long time can be a bit daunting for sure, which is one of the main reasons why I've kind of been giving Bleach and One Piece the skirt. I've been skating around them a bit. Yeah, tons of miniseries. I would say there are still some really, really good movies out there. Even if you get past the Studio Ghibli movies. The Ghibli movies, there are movies like Perfect Dark, which are like great. Even something like Redline, even if you're not into cars, right? I'm not into cars. But Redline was gorgeous. Each panel was a work of art. And Redline, kind of simply put, it's kind of like pod racing, but it's an anime, and it's cars and tanks and all kinds of crazy shit. So if you just you can look up a trailer for Redline, like the color red, and like think of like Powerline. It's great, and like I said, it's a work of art. There are things like Vampire Hunter D, which are like, classics. I would say that the old one is a bit hard to look at if you haven't really been watching anime for a long time. I grew up with it, so it didn't look that bad to me, but I can imagine going back and looking at it might be a bit rough. There are great ones like Demon City Shinjuku, which I liked a lot. It's just one movie. It's great. Of course, like Ninja Scroll is always good. Akira, which, the manga of that's a lot longer, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah, there's whatever you're into, you can find it, and in varied levels. If you're like, oh, I don't want to sit down and watch fucking 10 seasons of something, that's fine. You can probably find a really good one that's shorter. Or if you just kind of really want the story, or you kind of want to just get to a good point, you can watch recaps. So like let's say you want to watch Dandanon, you're like, well, I like aliens, and then I like supernatural, and I like funny. I think I'll like Dandanon, but I really just don't have the time to sit through all those episodes to get caught up. So when the season starts back up, I don't have the time for all of that. I just want to kind of go into the new season having already a knowledge of what's going on. You can just go to YouTube and type in, just do a recap. I do that all the time. Because really, I'm just there. I'm there for the story. So if it's something that I just really don't have the time, especially with a kid now, man. Like today, I watched Kaiju number 8, and I was surprised I was able to get 2 episodes into it. Like, I was able to watch the 2 episodes that I did watch. I had to give him some food, give him something to kind of munch on, so he wouldn't losing his shit. Not losing his shit. So he wasn't getting stir crazy. I'll say that. That's the better way. Losing his shit's not the proper thing. He's in a high chair. He's going to get stir crazy. So yeah, I give him something to munch on, give him a little bit of food, and he's right as rain, and I watch 2 episodes. But yeah, going to YouTube and just kind of doing a recap just to kind of get you to a certain point to where you can join into the show, that's great. I do that all the time. If you like D&D, or if you like Lord of the Rings, there's a great show, and it's not super long. They haven't animated a lot of it, but it's called Record of the Lotus War. And from my understanding, or what I always understood, is that it was actually like a D&D game that some of the creators were having, and it was so good that they decided, after writing it down, that it would make a great show. Whether that's 100% true, I don't know. But yeah, it's Lord of the Rings, high fantasy, elves, dwarfs, magic, dragons, knights. But I enjoyed that a lot. Probably should put this where you guys can actually see it. I'm sorry. Trying to round the head top a little bit. Record of the Lotus War, if you're into guns, like actual guns, There's one called Gunsmith Cats. If you like silly stuff, I liked Camaraderie High School. Super silly, completely unhinged. Guest appearance of Freddie Mercury, or somebody who looks like Freddie Mercury that they call Freddie. What else? I adore JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I've been a huge fan of JoJo for a long time. I used to play the fighting game on the Dreamcast back in the days. And on the PlayStation 1. Mostly on the PlayStation 1. What happened there? Anyways. Yeah, JoJo's is great. I think they're getting ready to release Still Ball Run. JoJo's is cool because it's like generational. So you watch the first season and it follows, Jonathan Joestar. And he's like this rich kid. He's a good guy, but he's this rich kid, and his family takes in this guy, Dio. His father owed Dio's father something, so when he passed, Dio went to go live with him, but Dio is just a fucking nuisance, and basically becomes a vampire and wreaks havoc on Jonathan's life and his family's life. So so it starts off with Jonathan, and I'm thinking it's like, what, 1800s, maybe late 1800s, and then it goes to Joseph, his son, Jojo. Many years later, Dio comes back. And, well, actually, I think the second season. So each season's basically a generation of the Joestar family. So it was Jonathan Joestar, it was Joseph Joestar, Jotaro, Josuke, all of these characters. And they're all part of the Joestar lineage. And Dio is worked into all of that for the most part. Yeah, huge JoJo fan. Now, am I like the most knowledgeable person? If you're like, how many bullets did, they shoot at Star Black? I'm not going to know all of that. But, I mean, I used to play the game on the PlayStation 1, the fighting game, loved it, played it on the Dreamcast. I was reading the manga, and then they released this anime that is follows Jotaro and Polnareff and Abdal and all of them, Africa, Dio, the stands. That's where they implement the stands, which are like manifestations of your fighting energy into a person. If you've ever played any of the Persona games, think kind of like that. And then, then the world of Dio, or world of JoJo, kind of really went quiet there for a while. They had a PS2 game that wasn't horrible, but it never made it to the States. And then they continued with the manga, so the manga was still going on at that point. But as far as its popularity, not so much. And then they basically started the whole show in anime form, and then it really just kind of took off, and then all of these like JoJo fans kind of came out of the wet works. Understandably, though, it is that absurd. I need to like put this where you guys can actually see it a little bit better. I was thinking about, like, in between doing like carves or whatever skill I have, just to kind of maybe break up the monotony for people watching. I don't know, I might play video games. I might use that as an outlet to get caught up on my backlog, because it's massive. And I'm not even talking about physical games. My physical game backlog is stupid. But no, my digital game backlog. And, I mean, I've probably got, 600 games on Steam, which, mind you, some of these are like small companies. It's their free game or whatever, or it's like Humble Bundles or Fanatical or one of those kind of deals, or just special Steam sales. And then I probably have an extra 200 games in between Amazon Prime Gaming and Epic Game Store and Good Old Games. And then probably another 400 through emulators, so like PSP, PS1, a lot of DS games. And then I have all of my physical games, so there's a shit ton of those. Just, I mean, I've got all of the stuff to record it, so I've got capture cards and all of that. I've got all the consoles and the physical games, so maybe that's something. I don't know if people would be interested in it. I don't think I have enough reoccurring guests that are here for like wood carving or for the skills, you know. I mean, I know it's a little rough around the edges, but I wanted to keep the show alive because I do love the show and I do have a vision for the show, and I don't want to just like not do anything until I'm like 100%, you know, prepared, or like not prepared, but like I don't want to just wait until I have like all my ducks in a row to start the show back, you know. I want to have it active in some facet, which is what this is. And I think this is a great chance for me to learn a lot of new skills. It's a lot of stuff that I wanted to learn already, but just didn't have the avenue to go about doing it, or maybe even the focus to go about doing it. So I think this is a great avenue for me to pick up a lot of new skills, things that before I would just have people on my show and live vicariously through them and their skills. Now I can kind of put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. If you have a skill you think would be interesting for me to learn, that's not going to be like a small fortune to get into, you know, let me know in the comments. I'm down to like give it a try in the future, you know, make that part of my Path to Polymath series. So far, like lined up, I have like sculpting, and I have like mosaic work. I'm a big history buff, so like I've always loved mosaics. Going through Pompeii and looking at all the mosaics and going through these, you know, Italian cities and seeing the mosaics. Yeah, I've always loved mosaics. So doing my own always sounded cool. So I'm going to do that. Kind of like faux stained glass window making. Pottery. I mean, really with pottery, you need to have like probably some really good tables and stuff, like the turning tables. I don't know the correct terminology, but I feel like I could probably get the fundamentals down without spending, you know, $1,000 on gear, especially for something that like I'm kind of just coming in here and hanging out with you guys. I got a recommendation installing Linux. I don't need to install it. I have it natively running on the Steam Deck. So that's my like little Linux computer. It's not a beast, but I definitely like have known to dock it and go into desktop mode and just use Linux. So I would take that over Apple or Mac any day. I never really got good at Mac. I had to use it somewhat whenever I was doing video editing when I was in college, like Final Cut Pro, but I did not enjoy it. And then having to go home and like they're like, okay, work on this project some more when you get home, and like I'm going to Windows when I go home. See his little portly bodies coming into frame. This is actually a rib, and that's like stooped in back. But we're getting there. I'm gonna take some more off these edges here. Round this man's head off. Ooh, that's a nice little rip there. That was unintentional. So in an instance like this where I would push up right here, I don't know if you can see this, there's a big gap. If I did, a large chunk of this would get ripped off. So that is not what I want. So I'm going to go this way, kind of working with the grain and take off only really what I intend to take off. I use this like levering method to where I use my thumb as a point. What's the word? I'm not wording well today. My vernacular is dragging. Maybe I'm just thinking about this too much and not really using my words. But I'm using this to help, as an anchor, to help get the tension that I need or the pressure that I need without having to really put too much work on my wrist or my hands. I was going to say like a fulcrum or something, but I don't think that's the correct term. I hate to be Microsoft dependent, to be honest. Really? Oh, it says I had to switch now because my PC is not Windows 11 ready. So it's like an older computer. So whenever I first started going to college, I bought this just like really, at the time, it was a really good laptop. I mean, only like gaming laptop you were getting back in the days if you wanted to go like Alienware. But I needed it for college. But also I wanted to be able to play. This is going to kind of show the age of the laptop. But I wanted to play Oblivion. Oblivion was like, hey, I know you're saying this is a strong laptop, but can it play Oblivion? And they're like, yeah, I think the specs, the RAM should be good, and like it's got this graphics card in it, and it should be able to, which, I mean, it did. I was able to play, I played a lot of Oblivion on it. But when I started getting a little more serious about the show, and I started like investing a lot of my own personal money in it, I bought a laptop. So I wanted it to be pretty powerful so it can handle OBS and any of the plugins, green screening, anything I could give it. I wanted it to be able to handle it, and it did well. And I wanted it to be a laptop specifically because we would go out and about. I probably need to quit on that neck just for a bit. We would go out and about to locations, and I wanted to have a laptop. I wanted to be able to stream on location, so I had that laptop. But when we moved to Nashville and we had a house and a studio in mind, I think I threw in like $5,000 on a beast of a desktop. I wanted it to be able to play games. Anything that is currently out, I wanted it to play it with no problems. And I also wanted it to be able to handle any plugins, any streams, multiple cameras, multiple plugins. That thing is tearing, buddy. And it does that. But honestly, I'm not playing many games on it. I'm in the Midwest now, and all the houses here have basements. So the studio is currently in my basement. So I don't really get many options to just like come down to the basement to play video games. I usually have my little dude with me, so I suppose if I got him down with a nap, I probably could come down here and play games on this PC. But you can never tell, Sometimes you think he's going to be down for an hour or an hour and a half, and you're like, okay, I could get in a hunt on Monster Hunter. I'm excited. I haven't played in a while. And then you look at the baby cam, and within 5 minutes of you coming down, he's woke up and he doesn't find you and he's pissed. So you exit out, and and that's okay. Like, I get it. I will choose my little man over the video games any day. The video games will be there. They will be there. I could come back 10 years from now and these video games will still be there. But these little, like, sweet moments with him as he is now, I will not, every day he gets just a little bit older, and these little mannerisms that he has, he's already lost a lot of them and he's gained new ones, but it's just crazy how quick they grow. So I will get into the gaming at some point. I'll get back to it. I might do trade skills gaming. I still have that Twitch account because I intended for Jake and I to, like, have the silly banter and play video games, and I had all that set up, but I just really couldn't lock Jake down to be able to do it. Oh yes, but the PC is actually not that weak. So you basically, like, kept upgrading pieces of it. So you kept, like, you add more RAM, or you, like, upgrade the graphics card or whatever, but, like, the motherboard is older, or what's kind of the situation? It's just got an older OS on it. All right. I probably should bend this down so you guys can kind of see that a little better. So yeah, so this is currently where I'm at. So this will be his, like, ribs. And he's very, like, gaunt. He's gonna have these, like, well, you can't see it, but these, like, ribs that are going in right here, and in the back he's gonna have, crazy spinal issues right there. That's just kind of how I imagine. Hey, thanks. Dexterito. No. Retrio. Sorry. I'm not braining right now. My brain is just not working. But thank you for coming in. Yes, the motherboard and the CPU are older. That keeps me from updating it to Windows 11. Dude, I think that piece, that my old laptop that I had from whenever I was in college, and it still works. It still works. It has to remain plugged into a power outlet because the battery is long gone. So if I unplug it or if we lose power, it just turns off, and it's a bitch to get back up. But I think it's running, like, it might be running Vista. I'm not positive. Maybe not. I don't know. I think it came with Vista, but I think I have upgraded the OS since. But it's definitely not Windows 11. I told myself I would quit cutting into this neck because I'm afraid it's going to, like, just snap off. But here I am, still carving into it. I'm going to round off these ribs a little bit. This probably method that I'm using right here might be a bit unconventional. I'm doing a pull cut, or a pairing cut as they call it, and I'm really trying to be somewhat precise with it so I don't take off too much material. So I'm using my pointer finger here to kind of just really ease the pressure. So it's just really lightly, so I don't take off too much material. It's a crazy thing about sculpting or with wood carving. Sculpting, you can just add more, like if you take off too much material, you just plop some more on there and call it a day. With wood carving or like stone carving, anything like that, you take off too much material, it's game over, man. You're done with that one. Oh, this would probably be interesting to absolutely nobody, but recently I went home to my hometown and I saw my mom, and I remembered she had this device a long time ago, right? What is this? Oh, I gotta. Okay, so her and I are the only one a long time ago. She's the only other person I knew that had this device. Where mine went, I have no idea. I'm a little sad about it. And I mentioned that I was sad about it. And she's like, well, hey, I still have mine and it still works if you want it. I haven't used it in forever. Probably since like, I don't know, 2008 or something. She's like, do you want it? And I said, hell yes. So when I went home, I got her Zune. Like she had like first generation. We both had first generation. I had the this is like a white, clearish white Zune, somewhat see-through looking, and she had the brown green one. So I got her Zune and plugged it up, and sure enough, it still works. Yes, an old MP3 player. It's an old Microsoft Zune. So this was Microsoft's answer to the iPod. And I remember I really liked mine a long time ago. And I was sad that I just don't know what happened to it. So I went through all of the trouble to like, so it won't work on Windows 11, right? And getting it working on even OS's 1 or 2 back is difficult. But I was just lucky enough to have an old laptop that has an old OS and a bunch of the old drivers for the Zune from when I had it back in the days. I went into my storage unit in my hometown to just grab odds and ends, some things that I had in there. I've got like a bunch of old like console stuff stored in there, so I wanted to grab some of that and opened up one of the boxes, and right on the top was the Zune software. So I was like, dude, this is fate, man. So I put it into my disk drive, which is the only actual disk drive I have in the house, is on this old laptop. My current desktop doesn't have one, like an optical drive, and my desktop does not have one. So I was like, shit. Lucky enough, this old laptop of mine, all old PCs had them in there, floppies, and then smaller floppies, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, so I was able to extract all of my mom's old files. I know she wanted all those old pictures from like 2005 and 2006. And extracted all of that, completely reset it, and then loaded it up with my music. It plays so well. It's nice having a device that's just like, that is its purpose, is to play that, to play music, or, you know, it's, I don't know. It's strange, you know, like as technology advances, like a long time ago, you know, you had a CD player, then you went to like a MP3 player, and iPhones and things like that came around, and being able to have like a camera, an MP3 player or a music player, and your phone, and a calendar, and a calculator, and all of these things all built into one. It was like, man, this is so nice. But as I get older, having things that are dedicated and optimized for one single purpose, I don't know, there's something about it, man. It was just really done well. And I'm loving the Zune. To put my phone down, to not get distracted on YouTube, put my phone down, and then put my MP3 player on, put my headphones in, and just listen to some music, man. It's actually it's quite refreshing. Not have to like go through Spotify or whatever it is program you're dealing with. I have bad ADHD, so I get super distracted. I'll open up Spotify or whatever. I'll go to listen to some music, and then I'm like, oh yeah, what about this? And I forgot to check in on this. Let me go check. It's like, I should eat some eggs today. Man, I think these eggs might be expired. Hey, Google, blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, I haven't done, what I initially...
You didn't finish your thought.
Oh, God.
What haven't you done?
Never mind. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I forgot they're always listening. But yeah, having a device that is solely to that purpose is nice. I like downloading MP3s. Really nice to have one purpose gadget like that. Yeah, exactly. They did what they did, and they did it well. It just, if I end up, eventually start going back to the gym, like going to a physical gym, I won't actually be able to bring the MP3 player. I mean, I can. It's just having two devices on me. I have to be reachable. I'm a dad. If something happens, I have to be reachable. So I either can carry two devices in my pocket, or I can just have the one. So, but definitely like going around the house and like having my headphones in is definitely nice, and just listening to music and not having my phone in my hand and being distracted by it is nice. I would like to think I have the discipline, the self-discipline to just not, but that is a skill for another episode. Do you have you say you collect MP3 players? Are you like downloading MP3s? What do you play them on? I'm sad to say that like even phones these days, like I went from the Note 9, which is one of these phones over here, still works for me pretty well. Went from the Note 9 that actually has a micro USB, or not micro USB. It has it can take a micro SD to the 20, and they took it away in the 20. So all my MP3s and like my movies went away. I used them, man. I really did use them. I downloaded movies and downloaded MP3s because I would travel a lot, and I'd be like on an airplane for going overseas. It'd be just too damn long, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie real quick. And they have movies on the airline, some airlines, but sometimes they're trash, or sometimes I just want to like listen to music, put my headphones in and listen to music. And if I'm in the air, I don't have service. Oh, what's up, dude? Long time no see, man. Or long time no hear. How you been, man? You still in Albany? I play them on my phone, laptop, and PC. I still got an old MP3 player, but the battery's too old to use on a regular basis. The old iPod Touches are honestly really good for that. I actually have an old iPod Touch, and the battery is dead on it, so I just have it permanently plugged in to a socket with a really long cable. So I basically have it on like a little mini tripod like this, little mini tripod, and it just always stays perpetually plugged in. It is jailbroken, so I have all of these old games that you just can't get anymore on it that are just not on the marketplace. And I have some games that I put a lot of time in them. Like, I won't say they're mobile games because it's iPod Touch, but essentially the iPod Touch's version of like mobile games. They were mobile games, yes, but they weren't like, I guess I'm thinking of like games that have multiplayers now, and it wasn't like that. I think I have an old Monster Hunter. It's like Monster Hunter Dynamic Hunting. I have that on there with all my saves. I have a game called The Act, and it was like very Don Bluth, almost like point and click adventure. It was great. I have some point and click adventures on there. And I have tons of old music, and it's a great little device. I probably should one day just go through the process of getting a battery for it and updating it, like cracking it open, have all the tools to do it, and just putting in the new battery. All in due time. So I'm guessing you have a phone that has a micro SD slot, or you have you have a way to connect it to your computer. Maybe you airdrop them to yourself and you get them that way, and you just save it on the internal storage, or you download it directly onto the phone. I guess those are options. I know, right? Nah, I moved to Denver. Denver, Georgia. That's wild. Oh, Denver, Colorado. What's out in Denver? I've never been to Denver. I've never been to Colorado. I've been to a lot of the states, but that little nook of Americana I have never done. So Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Colorado. I have not done those. All in due time. It's actually really expensive to travel in the States, which is why I did it a couple times. And I'm like, dude, the 1 month that I spent traveling through the States, I could have spent 3 months in Europe. So for me, it wasn't good. It wasn't cost effective. You and Jake doing well? Yeah, Jake's doing well. I'm doing well as well. I have a kid now. I have my little dude. He is 10 months. And my girlfriend and I are living in Illinois. So she's doing archaeology up here in Illinois, and I am still waiting tables. I'm working on my app still. I have a script for a show that is on the back burner that I've been working on for a couple years, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned that on the show. Micro SD slot. I transfer the files from the PC via USB cable or Bluetooth. Yeah, I moved again. The house is still in Nashville, though. We still own it. Jake's still doing his thing up there, or down there, I suppose. Yeah, I miss having a micro SD slot on my phone, and I don't want to I have the S25 right now, and I don't want to take up any more memory than I need to. I mean, I had the 23 before, and I just chew through the memory, especially since I don't have expandable memory now. I mean, there's always cloud, but yeah, no. Yeah, I guess you could always Bluetooth it. You can always. I used to like send them to myself through email, like just have like a large file or find Dropbox or anyway like that, just to send it to myself and then download it. So from my PC, send it to myself through email or Dropbox, and then download it on my phone, open it and download it. It works, but actually having a device that I don't have to really worry about that is really nice, which is the MP3 player. It's a bit old school, but damn, does it work well. It sounds great too. It's just optimized for audio, man. It's Microsoft, so they put some love in it. At the time, it's kind of a bit of a different situation for Microsoft. They weren't quite the entity that they are now. I mean, they were big for sure, but they were going out on a limb, and they're really trying to have all of the modern technology bells and whistles that they can have in the Zune. And I thank them for it, because it actually is a great little device. And I'm glad I kept my old laptop. To be honest, I love that old laptop. It was a special edition, like HP. They did like a metallic edition, so it was like brass. It was like coppery and brass, so the whole top of it looked like this, like it looked like copper and brass. Shiny, metallic. It was actually metal, or at least, yeah, parts of it were. I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, yes. Is it powerful? Cool. I'll take it. And I just haven't had the heart to get rid of it. And thank God I didn't, because the Zune. Outside of that, though, it doesn't really do much of anything. I guess I have a disk drive, but I mean, you can buy a disk drive on Amazon for $20 and just plug it up USB into your computer if you need a disk drive that bad. Getting back to having a device that's designed for a specific purpose, which is not really a thing that happens anymore. Everything's like multifunctional. I have this old camcorder which I've been recording my son on. So I did it before he was born, and I recorded some interviews with some family, like, what are some things you hope for him? What are some kind words you can say? What are some words of advice? And then the first disc of this old camcorder, it takes like micro or mini disc. Think of like GameCube. It takes like mini disc, and it is specifically, its only purpose is just to record him and his life. CDs last a long time, so as long as you keep it in a case, it will not degrade, versus like VHS or like moving parts of a hard drive, or even, I mean, I record some stuff on my phone, but like photos and videos, they just get lost in the ether. It's less purposeful. It gets mixed in with screenshots and pictures of random shit of food, and you'll have 1,000 photos of a single event. So this thing is just a mini CD, mini disc, mini DVD, and it's just the life with him. And I'm gonna do it probably as long as that device will hold out. I'll keep working on it, and hopefully by the time he's like 18, he'll have this stack of discs that he can kind of look back on if he wants to. Maybe I'll still be around then, and if not, I'll be in those videos. Got a job up here, so I took it. Yeah, I'm trying to look into something else outside of waiting tables. Waiting tables is convenient right now just because I can stay home with little man during the day. I can have a malleable schedule. I can stay home with him during the day, and then my partner we can swap, and I can go to work at night and make decent money, and then, repeat. But as far as like benefits or, I've been doing waiting tables for 26 years. I'm just kind of ready for the next step, whether that's my app, I've got a long way to go, whether that's my screenplay, long way to go. So I'm trying to look into something maybe remote so we can see about moving abroad, moving out of the country. Well, shit, if you ever decide to drive on a trip to Georgia again, I'll have to hit you up and detour through Illinois. Yeah, there's not a lot going on, you know. We're like probably 12-minute drive to St. Louis. So St. Louis, we're right here. We're technically in East St. Louis. I have to go through every few months and delete all the photos I took at work. Yeah. My phone, that S23, man, that thing just filled up. Taking, the kid goes to the splash park and you take fucking 30 photos and you really only you like all of them, but you only use one of them, or you really like one of them. So yeah, I'm loving the device. It's an old Sony Handycam with a mini DVD card reader, and I've probably got, 25, 30 blank discs I've recorded so far. The first disc was all the way up to 6 months. So the current disc he's working on is, 6 months to whatever. Trying to round this head up. Oh, this area right here is breaking a bit, so I'm gonna have to be a little easier with it. Yeah, this is areas. Oh, I probably need to sharpen soon. I probably need to get off the air soon. I don't really take the show, Sad Customer and Michael, I don't really take the show as long as I used to before. When we had somebody to interview, or it was like Jake and I and bantering about the stupidest shit. I guess not much has changed there, but as far as the quality of banter, I think just me chilling on here for 2 hours is a bit excessive, and it's not really needed. I can break up the cuts in a couple episodes per project if I need to. And if people want to be here for it, cool. And if they want to catch it afterwards later, cool. If they like it, I love it. Oh yeah, this blade's already starting to slow down a bit. I might have to strop it some more before I use it. This one's fresh though. I'm mostly just trying to round this alien's head off. That's what I'm making if you guys are tuning in and you haven't caught that part of it. I just where I would before, like car specific projects, so like this cardinal on a pole, or a mushroom, or a little fox, where I would follow somebody's tutorial, cut by cut. Now, since I've kind of got some of the basics down, this is supposed to be they call it a comfort bird. You kind of just sit here, and once you get some linseed oil on it, it's supposed to be comforting. But now, since I've got the fundamentals, I can kind of venture out and try things. So that's where the alien cowboy came in. I just kind of was winging it. I still might work on them a little bit more. I might do some tassels going across the front, or yeah. He's a little too. There's not enough in the bust to do a Sergio Leone, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The thing down the middle that Clint Eastwood had, but I was thinking about something like that. If I had a little more body, maybe. How often do you talk with Jake? Are you voice chatting from time to time? So he hasn't come on the show. Like I think Leah and him popped in like maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago. They popped in, they visited. Um, he said that he wanted to come in and like chat with me on the show on Mondays, but I love Jake, but like what he says and what he does are two different things. So like getting him to commit to it has been difficult. So I downloaded Video Ninja, the app, and I was gonna have him the bandolier. Bandolier? I don't know. Yeah, so I was gonna have Jake like, let me see if I fix that. Yeah. I was gonna have Jake use his phone as his camera and kind of just prop it up and come on the show with me. All he would have to do is literally go to a link that I sent him from my phone, click on it, and it would use his camera and his microphone, and he could be on the show. And I would just add it as a split screen so he could still be there with me and hang out. But yeah, trying to get him to do that has been tricky. And plus, for a while there, he was like on the road. He was with, I said the name of the band earlier, but I forgot it. They're Icelandic, I think. Anyways, yeah, he was on tour with them, and then he was on tour with another guy, and he's gone, Kaleo, yeah. So he's gone on tour. He'll go on tour for like 2 or 3 months, and then he'll come back. He'll call me randomly and be like, "Hey, I'm in Washington D.C. There's protests going on," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, man, be safe." And then, that's the extent of it. He's still the homie. I'd love to have him on, and I love, I miss the old banter, the talking about stupid shit. I figured that's why you hadn't come in a long time. Icelandic indeed. I looked them up. Yeah, like Sigaros, Icelandic. Just different vibe. Anyways, I figured that was the reason why maybe you hadn't come on in a while, because Jake, Jake's really like the goofball of the show. Like, the craziness is going to come from Jake, and I'm the what do they call it? I'm like the straight man, as the term would be. I'm just the guy trying to get through the episode, and I do have some some goofy banter, but definitely not on the level of Jake. And I figured since the show had kind of changed and I was a lot less inconsistent, that maybe the viewers dropped off. Which, I mean, I get it. We were like every Monday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, rain or shine. And then once we moved to Nashville, I think we missed maybe our first episode. I mean, Jake's house even burnt down in Albany, and we still went live, I think, the next day or the day after, on that Monday. But it got a little more inconsistent in Nashville, and then once I moved here, and then I had a child and more obligations, and I don't know anybody in this town, so being able to have interviews has been tricky. So that's the reason why I've ventured into this Path to Polymath series that I'm working on. Learning new skills of my own and sharing it with you guys, and then eventually having an interview with a skilled practitioner of the trade that I've been learning, or skill. But yeah, so me working on my app, it used to be every Monday. I think for probably 3 or 4 months, it was every Monday. I was driving 30, 45 minutes to this town called Alton in Illinois, because that's where the investors and the guys basically who run they're not hedge funds, they're the investors, these guys who have multi-million dollar businesses, who invest in lots of businesses. They were kind of helping us. I think it was about 30 of us kind of fine tune our ideas and there was a contest. It was Tech STL, and whoever comes up with the best idea for a business, they would move on to the next level and the next level, and then eventually it was throughout the whole United States, and you would win, I think, $1 million or $10 million in investments towards your business. But I honestly, I came in really late into that project. I came in like, I think, a couple weeks before the first tier of that competition started, and I was like, dude, I have my idea, but that's it. I don't know what to expect. So I kind of dipped out of that competition and just kept taking those classes with those guys to kind of work on my project. So that whole time I was not going live, because it was on Monday. It was like it didn't really work out to where I could come in, go live with you guys. Never thought I'd hear you hear of Jake and protest together in the same sentence. To be honest, I don't visit Twitch that often anymore. Yeah, that's true. But I am on 4 platforms. So I'm on I don't say what the platforms, I guess I did just say Twitch, but I'm on, I'll just say the red platform, the blue platform, the purple platform, and whatever color this is. I guess it's black and white now, but whatever that is. 4 platforms. So yeah, Twitch has kind of dipped out. People don't really, I mentioned it again. Anyways, yeah, I'm still trying to go live. If I have something coming up with my family or whatever, I don't go live, and I need to be better about like posting it on social media, but I don't think enough people even see that for it to even warrant the time spent on it. The former Bluebird platform? No, not that one. It's the one that I think the United States just bought from Taiwan, or in the process of buying. I'm on that platform as well, live. The clock app, because it's the sound that the clock makes. Anyways, yeah. So I go live when I can. It still usually will be on Mondays around the same time, but it's not going to be as consistent as it was. And I'm hoping to have interviews. I've met a couple cool people that I'd like to have on. And when I get the studio up to par, aside from like just this small station right here, I'll definitely have those interviews, and I'm excited for them. You can't see it, but over there, that's where I have like my main desktop that's running all of this, and the more professional camera. This is the one that I use that just allows me to kind of do funky things, but that will be a more professional camera that I have set for that, and I'm just building out the studio space to where it looks like an actual studio when I have people to interview. So I've got the chairs, and I'll have tables and the stuff in the background, so yeah. But I think I'm going to end it for the night. I've gone a lot longer than I had initially planned to. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in and for hanging out with me. It has been awesome. It was great to hear back from some of you guys because it has been a hot minute. Let me see. I'm going to go to this camera, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been a while. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. It has... it's been a flashback for sure, and I will hopefully see you guys next week where I can start killing this some more. So that's where I'm at with it. It looks really like something you would dig up, something my girlfriend would dig up, archaeology kind of shit. But yeah, it's gonna be an alien. So that's his like ribs. That's gonna be his back. I'm obviously going to take it in right here. He's going to have arms and probably a really skinny waist, and I've got to take in the head a bit. Well, a lot, because he's kind of like Lego-headed right now. But, yeah, it'll be an alien. And kind of similar to that situation, just minus the cowboy. I just was working on stuff. Good checking on with you, man. Take care. You as well. It is great to hear from you, both of you. And I hope y'all have a great week. I'll try to be more consistent, and I hope to see you guys again with new information. Maybe I'll have the Zune on next week as a guest. But either way, guys, let me fix that a bit. I'm fixing the other platform so they can actually see me. I will catch you guys later. Ciao.